Hello and welcome to the STCfit Learning Podcast. I'll be your host today. My name is Jason Galea and I'll be joined by Ben Scott. Thanks for joining us on our way to creating 1 million positive outcomes in personal training by 2030. The podcast is brought to you by STCfit Learning's Coaches Collective, a premium business mentoring service for PTs who want to attract the clients they want, earn a higher income, and have a long, sustainable fitness career. If you enjoy the episode, please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcasting platform. A 5-star review goes a long way to helping us reach more people just like you. Hope you enjoy the episode.
This is a new purpose-built gym.
So it's not actually like the prime equipment.
No, nothing to do. Like we
just
the guys that organised Adam Smith, so he's the club manager. He's who I report to. Now, I have been a club manager in the past, boys. You know that.
Yeah.
Back at Clean Health. So he manages the place. But long story short, he was involved with the guy who built the gym. So trained his kids through fitness first, and then had an opportunity to become involved here. So yeah,
nice.
Now the gym he helped equipment list and everything else. So he got a pretty hectic list. Yeah, pretty much all the toys we wanted, he got
that
them.
Is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was like a checkbook.
Like,
okay, what do you want? We need one. It's so funny. Like, we've got like these bars that you can do. It's got multiple adjustments, so you can do like basically front squats. Yeah, you've seen those bars, and the cam moves, so it moves in and out. Yeah. Of course, we had to have 2 of those just in case one was being used. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
So it was like I don't know if the guy who owns the gym was aware that there was just in case it gets busy, 2 of everything. Yeah, you know?
Yeah, at a couple grand a pop. That's
exactly, man. Yeah, it's all top notch. It's none of the cheap. I mean, Prime, Prime's
they don't muck around.
Premium, man.
Yeah,
Prime in Atlantis. So it's a pretty good kit.
Yeah,
all custom made plates. But yeah, they did well. We got the Watson dumbbells too. 1 kilo increments up to 20, so it's pretty well decked out. And like I said to you, because we're going to drop names on the podcast. If anyone knows Mike Pearson, one of the biggest dudes on the planet, if he comes down here and doesn't mind training,
move some weight around.
Yeah, that's it's a tick of approval.
Yeah, definitely.
He knows what he's doing, so he loves it, man. See him playing around with the cams, and because if you guys don't know, you guys both know, but for anyone listening, you can adjust the resistance profile, so you can. Put tension on the shorten or lengthen range, mid range, so you can play around with it and put it where you want it. So you could literally fatigue short range, mid range, and then long range on one movement. And that can be your workout almost.
Yeah. It gives you so much flexibility.
Yeah. It's just and it is awesome, but sometimes you just want to come in and chuck some weight on and do just lift the load, and it's like. Yeah. What did I have? What cam did I have? You got to take a pic and write down which you should be doing tracking things anyway.
Build it into your program template where you had
it's
the
like
load.
The pins are 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah,
I had 20 on this one, so awesome. But that would be the only if I would be really honest with you, that's the only critique. It does get a little complicated, where you loaded it and last time, but once you got your head around all that, it's awesome. Yeah, can't beat it.
Yeah. So the voice you're hearing for the ear people who can't see is Rawdon Dubois. Thank you for coming on the show, mate.
Yeah, absolute pleasure.
Appreciate it.
And we've been, ships in the night passing at various times over the years.
Yeah,
definitely. In the industry, so
we didn't even realise when I said to Jace, I was like, "Oh, Rawdon's in Sydney. We'll see if we can drop in." He's like, "I don't think we've done a one-off episode with you.
Nah.
We did the coaches call with Dean.
No, I did see Dean, and he's well and truly worthy. I was like, okay, so I didn't make the grade.
Fell a bit left out.
I didn't make the cut with the STC boys, and then he reached out.
We came in person.
I know.
Exactly. Step it up
Beat that, McKillop. He has to fly back to Sydney or Melbourne. Absolute pleasure, man. I fully respect what you guys do down there, and we've had some good conversations. We did the talking about hypertrophy and training with Dean. That time that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I know you're doing some pretty amazing things.
Thank you. Yeah. We were actually discussing on the way up, you were the first guy. I'm going to blow a heap of smoke up your ass.
Why not? Made me feel real uncomfortable.
You were the first guy I think that we knew of. It was maybe Lane, and then that was it. And then you were the online, the first
online coach 100%.
That we sort of knew about. And obviously the first Aussie podcast that was about training and
under the bar. Shameless plug there.
Yeah, we actually spoke to one of the guys at the seminars who's in our course. We're like, we're going to see Rawdon. And he just had a blank face. I was like, you kids don't know.
Yeah. back in the day. But the industry's just, it's, you know, I see where you're coming from and completely, but now it's morphed into every second person's an online coach, and it, there's not as much notoriety to be the online physique prep coach, and then there's lots of competent coaches. Yeah. I mean, what I do is almost I've made it more hoops to jump through, so I don't get as many people work with me. Yeah. At the peril of me making lots of money, but I stand by my principles and my methods. I'm not going to budge for anyone. Yeah. I guess over time, everyone's sort of, I think, evolved and online, and then they've got apps, and I mean, every second person. I mean, sure, you guys got an app going.
It's on the way.
We're developing.
It's on the way.
Yeah.
And I actually, before everyone had an app, started developing an app because I figured that was what was needed. But then it didn't happen, and it was just a little bit too complicated what I was trying to do. Like now, I think the technology is there, so everyone can do apps like pretty easy. Yeah. But back then, it was the web designer, and he was just trying to put it together based on information I gave him. So
we did the same
probably
thing.
Back in the day. And it was much harder then. You had to really there was lots of back and forth. And
we look at it now, and the functionality that we would want for programming is just not there. Yeah.
But
it'd still be hard to make it now.
Yeah. But they're getting I get emails all the time. Like how well the app would turn out, I don't know, but from India and all places, hey, I can do apps, Have you ever thought about an app for your business? Whether they know what's involved with like coaching and whatnot, I don't know. If it's a generic, do you want an app? And maybe some apps are super simple. Yeah. But back in the day, I guess I was one of the guys, but now there's just tons of options, and I firmly agree that there's plenty of ways to get to the finish line, and I certainly, it's funny, like it's almost like this mystique and this the Dubois method. What is it? It's just my way of doing things. It's not particularly fancy. It's pretty basic actually. And some will say, but that's the way you do it's just, I think it's the best, and it ain't the best. There's no best. That's just a way that I can explain and rationalize all the things I do.
Yeah, of course.
And I think if you can't do that, then you probably should think about why you recommend various things. Yeah. I mean, you guys know the logic in that, but it's not so it's just not as unique or novel as it once was. Yeah. And I guess I put myself out there, like maybe being more of an IFBB coach as well, and rather than just ICN or IMBA, those types of things. So that had a bit of unique feel to it too. And I had a good run, I mean, I coached plenty. Now, I mean, I still coach. I'm still busy putting guys and girls up, but these days I think, and taking nothing away from the bigger names in the industry that are producing amazing results with athletes, but really it comes down to, if you're competent, you're competent, and if you understand energy balance, you understand energy balance. It ain't complicated. Yeah. And really it's just you getting those that are genetically gifted. Like I look up on stage, it's like, you're the best genetics, you're second, you're third, you're fourth. That's who wins. Yeah. It's not you outworked and hard work, beats talent. Out-prepped. Someone with talent didn't turn up. So just understand, if they turn up, you're done. Because that's the sport we play. And all sports like that. Like you pick any sport. Someone comes with better genetics, better levers. They're going to hit the golf ball harder and further. Can you compare? You can't. Yeah. And I think it's like bodybuilding's one sport that, and physique prep where, you don't hear people like, I'm going to be a pro basketballer, and they're like this high. Yeah. It's like, no, you're not. Yeah. But yet bodybuilding, I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to take gear. Yeah. And I'm going to get on that. I'm going to, I want to turn pro, and I'm going to do an Olympia. And it's like, dude, you know how many pros are on the planet? Yeah. Or how many on the Olympia stage? 20? Yeah. You think you're top 20 in the world? Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. And it's sold as the work ethic thing. Like powerlifting's the same.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, and I spoke to, like Greg Knuckles, I've heard him talking about, you guys would be aware of him, and he was talking 3 years of doing what you do, structured, dotting I's, ticking boxes, crossing T's, all that type of stuff. If you ain't anywhere near a national level in powerlifting, you're never going to be. Yeah. It's just ain't going to happen. And same with like physique. Like if you ain't like winning national shows, then no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. Even like you look at the top guys and you see them when they're teenagers.
Exactly.
They're better than most of the 30-year-olds here.
You look at Ronnie Coleman, like Natty. It's like, my God, look at this guy. Like Natty, like holy smokes. Yeah. And they didn't even know about gear. And then I think Lavroni or someone, or Wheeler, got him on some D-bowl or something.
Yeah, it would have been just like something novel. Yeah. Just like he would have just fucking
surprised.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just, and that's, I think when you realize that, it's always the best you can be at this point in time within your genetic potential, which might be the best to win. I mean, I've won, an IMBA back when I was IMBA, but seeing the guys that do ICN now, no way I would have won.
Yeah.
There's just so many more people doing it now as well.
Yeah.
And just a bigger talent pool. And it's sort of, I don't know whether it's still sort of in a upward trajectory with comp prep and every second person wanting to do it. I think it probably is. I don't think it's sort of leveled out and started coming back down. I think still many are being drawn to it and just want to do it for reasons, I don't know. Like, it doesn't really matter the why, as long as there is a why, I think, with physique prep. But yeah, it's just so many more people are aware of it, and it's almost like revered or status symbol. You compete.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
And I see the logic in it because it gives you a training structure. You have something to work towards, and it makes so. I mean, you guys know, you sit someone in for initial, like, what's your goals? We need to know, what are you working for? Like, I mean, a comp prep is, there it is, there's the end goal.
Yeah.
Easy. Okay, well, now I'm going to train every day and eat all my food, when you should be doing all that anyway if you want to progress. But, so I completely get it, and why and there's so many comps and so many divisions now. Back when I did it, was bodybuilding, that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Yeah, they've definitely done a good job to open up the participation under the federation.
And it's almost like wellness bikini. You guys would be familiar with that.
Yeah.
So for the listeners, it's basically chicks that are disproportionate. They have huge legs, and
Yeah.
they wouldn't normally place because it's like, holy smokes, you need to work your upper body.
Yeah.
But it's like, hold on. Or men's physique. Guys, not all of them. I mean, some of them have good legs. But usually they're, so it's almost like they just create divisions. I was thinking today, like, there'll be a men's wellness. Dudes with just massive quads and glutes and little upper body. Imagine that. Oh my God.
Basically a powerlifter's class.
Yeah.
Bodybuild.
yeah. Tiny upper body and just big wheels.
Big traps and big legs.
Yeah. Powerlifting category, maybe. Who knows what the future holds. But yeah, like to respond to what you originally said, I guess like early on with the podcast as well, the Under the Bar, I mean, we had, through Clean Health, credit where credit's due, I mean, Dane is who he is, and, if you guys don't know much about Dane, he's good at what he does, and he's always, 10 steps ahead of the game. I think it's all online now. Just as COVID was about to hit, boom, the whole business went online.
Yeah.
But that, the leverage off Clean Health, I mean, we were the sort of premier club in Australia, really, and we had 25 coaches and like 500-600 sessions a week. I mean, it was massive.
Yeah.
It was just a machine, and then, the wheels fell off for whatever reasons, and it changed, and the industry changed, and everything else. But that gave us a real, the likes of Poliquin, just big names, man. Yeah. It just gave us access to all those. So I leveraged off that, obviously. And then we got a lot of interest from the podcast, which indirectly made me a household name to some degree. Yeah. In this circle, anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
So very fortunate for that. But that's kind of how it all. And then I left Clean Health and just did the Dubois method, and that was just physique prep. So I was starting to do physique prep at the start. But
is that where you cut your teeth at Clean Health, or did you do PT?
Yeah, no. Like, I was 2 years at Fitness First, man. I earned my stripes, definitely. Yeah. I busted my balls, literally. Like, I left. I was in logistics, so a career company in management. Left that, and I'd won a comp, and Steve Bordeaux, I don't know if the guys listening might. So the conditioning specialist but he's still at Hornsby, man. He's still there. He was there before I was there. I left, and he's still there.
Yeah.
Kills it. Like, just about a squillion sessions a week. Dude, money coming out of you know what. But very good at what he does, and he does physique prep. But did a show, and he sort of didn't talk me into it. Yeah, no, kind of talked me into it. Said, why don't you do PT? No. And then did I think it was 12, what was it then? Maybe 6 weeks full time.
And $900.
Cert 3 or 4, and then got qualified and went into the industry. So 2 years, and I was there open till close. I lived local, so it was easy. But for those in the industry that are trying to get ahead, understand we all pay our dues, and that was literally 7 days a week, open till close. Now I went home and ate and came back.
Yeah.
But I was there last PT when the doors were shutting. I was saying goodbye to my clients, and no physique prep. It was the last thing I wanted to do back then. It was mums with boxing gloves and hitting the pads and jumping over things, doing plyometric type stuff, get the heart rate up. All the stuff that we would probably scoff at now. That was your bread and butter back then. So it was all just gen pop, big variety of clientele. Some guys, some small group sessions. A couple of guys that trained together, 3 guys that I used to train and just run them through supersets type thing. All cash money, just cash. I remember at home I had this pile of cash. Like, I didn't put it in the bank, and it was just like, it ended up being $12,000 just sitting on the table at home. The glory days of PT.
Sounds familiar.
All the
shoebox full of money.
Yeah, exactly. So two years I was there up at Hornsby Fitness First, and open till close, and I sort of broke all the records from what I gather. I mean, they might have been surpassed since, but for growth of business. So the first week I think I had like 8-10 sessions or something, first week on the floor. And then, every week you had a PT, or a team meeting basically, and you have to go around the room. How many sessions do you have? And, and I stopped saying how many sessions I had because everyone was getting, they were getting, other coaches were sort of, they were just getting shitty. And it's like, well, you guys aren't in the club. Like, what do you want me to do? And because I was in the club so often, you come into the club, like say this is Prime and I was working, obviously it's a small club, but I'd see you coming through the door and I don't know you. I'd walk up, hey man, first time in the club, what's your name? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And then they would literally, the club was big, and they would go a bit further up, and someone else would hit them up and say, "Oh no, Rawdon's already spoken to me. I got a comp session with him. Thanks anyway." It's like, fuck, what's this guy doing? Oh, I just noticed. You guys didn't notice. Yeah. So I do because I'm there all the time. And then what I had is a little book, it's a little black book. I know it sounds silly, but what it was just, you guys come in, STCfit, Jason Beard, and then I'd see you and it's like, hey, Jason, how's the company going, man? Yeah. And I wouldn't remember that. It was only because I had my book and I read it a couple of times, then I'd know. And so I'd yell out to you when you come in the claim, man, bench, chest on Monday, was it? How are the numbers going, And it just, people like, hearing their name. They like talking about themselves. Yeah. So that was sort of one of the things that I don't know if anyone told me to do that, but that's what I did because I just wanted to know everyone and be courteous and sort of present this, this identity and someone that they can relate to, that when they do have a question, I sort of use that layering technique, I suppose. Yeah. So I would never ask, I'd give them a complimentary session. Hey man, I'll do a PT session so you know what I can do. And they would do that and then I'll just leave it and they would just talk to them all the time. And eventually they would ask questions and get them on as a client. But I'd never, certain, I don't know how you guys run your business, but certain sort of styles, I guess, it would be, no, a sale is a sale. Like you keep going till you get that sale. Yeah. It's like, dude, I don't want to, if you don't want to train with me, I certainly don't want to train with you. I don't need the money that much. The anxiety and stress it would give me dealing with your personality.
Hanging out with someone I don't like.
You guys know, and you guys have been in the industry, so you don't have to put up with that. Now you do when you start. I get that. Yeah. But we're in a point now where we don't have to because there is someone that is a good coach for you. I'm just, for whatever reason, we don't. So that's how it all started for me and built the business that way. And a couple of years after, Dane prepped me for, I started doing short courses. So it was like advanced fat loss and it was super complicated. But it was all about, back then, we didn't know about insulin or fish oil with insulin, like all heavily Poliquin based pretty much. From if anyone knows about the Poliquin and biosignature and all that, it was that was pretty much what Dane was selling, but his version of it. But it seemed like, oh my God, this is method to the madness. I love this stuff, and you guys know, I'm always learning. That's one of my hashtags. I was always learning, I never think, well, actually I'm at a point now where I think I know less than what I did probably a couple of years ago, just because I'm aware that we don't really know much at all. And no one knows much. It's like it's all just interpretations, and some of us sell it a little better than others. But we're always learning. And did some short courses with Dane, and from there I sort of hit him up to prep me. I was about 11, 12 weeks out from comp, and that was the last show I did. Mind you, I'd won my previous shows. I got second with Dane, go figure. But I let him do it, and that's how I sort of made the connection with Dane and Clean Health. That was Clean Health then, and then he had someone. He was just expanding, and he was starting to grow his business. He was in a couple of clubs at that point in time, very successful. And someone started before me, and they sort of left, and then he hit me up, and literally it was like, yeah, okay. And then he'd done, interesting, funny story. He did a promo. It was a jump on it promo, just some sort of promo in Sydney. And it was like 12-week prep doing biosignature, 4 biosignatures, nutrition, no training, but just nutrition program. And like for $130 or something. So of course you can imagine, put that into out there into the ether and everyone jumped on it, literally. Jump on it was the name of the promo. Anyway, he got like 400 people paid, so made some good coin. But then he was screwed because he's the only one that does biosig, and his ex at the time was working with the company too. And that was it. So he goes, do you want to work for? And then I sort of said, yeah. Then he goes, all right, next biosig's in London. There you go. So literally a week later, I was on the plane I did my first, met Poliquin, did a consult with Poliquin for £1,000.
Wow.
Back then when it was like $3, 3 to 1. So it was $3,000 to talk to the guy for an hour. Like, what the hell? And that was with, Dane pulling strings. But anyway, you do what you do. And did and that was when the biosignature was 5 days, so it was a week over there. Came back and literally went into back-to-back biosigs. Never done it before.
Yeah.
Back-to-back bios, like crash course in how to do biosig, I guess, and pinching. And that's for the guys listening, it's a 12-site assessment method, just a way of doing skin folds and then a software to go with it. And it gives, hormonal profiles, which is what it is. That's a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally, like for the next 3 or 4 months, it was like 5, 6, 7 back-to-back assessments of skin folds. So literally 4 months of daily, 7, 8 skin folds a day type thing. So yeah, crash course in biosig and how to actually do the skin fold assessing, and then it morphed from there. And Jess Murphy and all the guys that might have been familiar with Clean Health back in the day, and Tommy came on, who we do the podcast with, and then it went in, relocated. That's when we were at Anytime Fitness at St Leonard's here in Sydney, and then we went into the city, opened up the Clean Health Performance Centre, and then that shut down. UP bought it up, and Dane went up to up the north side, and now that's shut down, and now it's all online for Clean Health. But that's kind of what happened. But yeah, I left in 2015. There was a bit of a change, and then I moved on. Yeah,
it's fascinating. Like, I had a bit of a back and forth with someone about Charles a few months ago now. Like,
R.I.P. of course.
Yeah, definitely. It was sort of like there's a lot of methodology that's hated on from him, but I think, like we said today, like Charles is the reason we have a job. Like, in a lot of ways, like he was the trailblazer that made personal training a thing for the general public, and it took us out of the spandex classroom and was like, I don't know, you can actually get in mad shape and you don't have to go to a dungeon and do bodybuilding. It's like you can be a normal person and come in and improve your body composition. Like you said, whether biosig was good or not, like, it got way more people in the gym.
It's a method.
Yeah,
people
and it
stuck to it.
Created a huge wave of personal trainers coming into the industry that at least started to pay attention.
Yeah. And I think also it sort of increased, but raised the standard maybe.
Definitely.
And what everyone was delivering, and
encourage people to learn too. Like, I was always looking at what you guys were doing in terms of education, and I think I went to a couple of weekend short courses that you guys were delivering. Actually, vividly remember as a fanboy delivering the body composition ones. I was like, ooh.
That was for iNutrition.
Dusty AF back then. My God, I'd like to see the footage. Like, cringe. Like, I'd pretty much sit there, fold my arms, and say, look, anything can work, guys. Like, I don't really tell you
read the fucking handout. It's in
there. Exactly. But yeah, like, I completely agree, and that's that. And for me, the fascination with Charles, and I had a massive at the club at Fitness First. There were half that were sort of pro, and I came in and I introduced because what I did at first was Dane was doing all the biosig, because I didn't do it. And then he was doing that, so I was PTing them. But it's like, okay, well, do you want the full service? Okay, if that is the case, go down and see Dane. He'll do your biosig and your nutrition. I'll do the training and everything. And like half it's like, you're just pushing sups, and he was heavily criticised for just all supplements. And there was real a divide in the club, if you will, and to the point. Actually, Steve Bordeaux, to throw him under the bus, he was one of the ones that was just not a fan, of Apollo. Like you said, there was divide. You either loved him or hated him. And he was a businessman. You got to appreciate that. And he had his supplement line, obviously the Poliquin supplements and everything else. But I had to pull him aside. I said, man, like all these negative comments, like, it's affecting my business. This is my thing, you know that. And he just didn't realize it was just him getting frustrated with Poliquin, but it was like, I'm using all this stuff. So you're affecting my business. I'm not doing anything for your business. You do what you want. And then he sort of realized, and then we lived happily ever after. But it was quite a bit of divide in the industry. You're either a Poliquin, or it used to be a Poliquin or Czech, really, back in the day. You're either Czechy or a Poliquin, which, retrospectively, is so silly, being one side or the other. But I did get caught up in it, and I would, someone would say, protein and fat breakfast. I'll get on there and say, man, but blood sugar profile for the day and protein and fats, and it's better than your wheat bix. That's all insulin and blah blah blah. Little protein, all that's insulin as well, probably the same amount. but I did get caught up in the hype.
We had a back and forwards with a client one day with the separating carbs and fats, and he was like, it doesn't make sense. We were like, it does, and just like defended it, and then like a few years later we're like, Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, look, it's funny you say that. Like, but method to the madness. I still like to separate, but for different reasons. I like Sunday protein fat day, and they have it every week. It allows me to get high carb in throughout the week.
Yeah.
So when they're training, I can dump a ton of carbs. We could argue whether carbs are needed or not, and research will tell you otherwise. You don't actually need it, but for performance, but for growth, there's probably pros there. But it just, you need something to follow, some sort of methodology. Yeah. But that is what I do, and I do separate them. Now, we could argue there's intramuscular fat stores. There's probably benefit putting them together. And like carb loading, actually, the guys that got doing the carb load into tomorrow, and I've got fats there with meal one. But I do separate it. But I separate it for when they hit Sunday, they know it's protein and fat day. And it's more that they associate that day with something different, and that's a day of rest and recovery. So it's not so much anything magic about the fats.
Yeah.
When they're on a high calorie environment, when energy balances push right up, then not having carbs for a day, you're pretty bloody grateful. It's like, my God,
even just the food volume.
Yeah. Food volume, exactly.
Yeah.
So when they hit Monday, they're like, okay, I can go these high carbs again. Let's get back into it. So a bit of methodology there, but it's more that they associate rest and recovery with protein and fats. Anything magic about having a day of protein and fats? Not really.
Yeah.
But there are, if you dig deeper, there are some benefits like you just touched on, but it's more every Sunday, baseline calories, rest day, protein and fat day. So it's, as soon as I start having the fats, it's almost like I'm hoping that there's this wave of, sympathetic, parasympathetic that rolls on, and out of the sympathetic state, sympathetic Monday through Saturday, pushing hard, grinding, beast mode engaged, and I tell them that every day. But Sunday, I call it a fat cat lazy Sunday. You just sit around, put your feet up. I don't want to see any steps. I want your steps to be sub 5,000. Just sit in the sun, do nothing all day.
Yeah. What was this? The custard bowl? Is that what it
was? The custard
raisins?
bath.
The bath, that's it.
Yeah. That was one of my cheat meals back in the day. But it was funny, like the first, when Dane was coaching me for that last, for that comp I did with him, he sort of gave me a green light. we've been dieting for whatever, no real cheat or anything, and he goes, yep, go out and have whatever you like. You're pretty depleted, as I was saying, pissing and moaning and saying how, fatigued I was and everything else, and he goes, yeah, just make it gluten dairy-free. I said, was that the criteria? And he goes, yeah, just gluten-free, dairy-free, go for your life. So I went, all right. So I went down the health food section at I think it was Coles at Hornsby, and I had the trolley, one of those, had some chocolate there. It's gluten dairy-free though, white chocolate. And then ate all that and did the skins like on Monday, Tuesday after that. And he's like, what the hell did you do on the weekend? I said, dude, you said go for it. So I went for it. And I was like, okay, no more of that. Time out. Okay, next time you're going to do this and this. And I'm like, all right. So, yeah, man, give me the green light. But that is also like how we coach is sort of how we have done things as well, as you know. Like you would be following the basic fundamentals of program design, ticking boxes with progression and everything else. But still, it's what you have found worked for you and obviously with your clientele, but also on a personal level. If you don't, then you're leaving something off the table. Yeah. That's what makes you you.
It's also your expression of it as well. Like
exactly.
Kim and I literally run the same business, but we know I know he wrote a program and he knows I wrote
there's the individual nuances, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
And initially you don't really know that, but as you develop in the industry, you do know what you know. And but that is why, I don't do cheat meals. Like I know there are others that, the McKillops of the world and various people that do more flexible dieting. And I think I'm probably not doing Dean justice, and he probably doesn't let them eat whatever they want. Yeah. And it's probably far more restricted, but it is flexible. But others will do cheat meals once a week. I mean, when I was with Shelby Starnes, it was go for a cheat meal. And that was custard bath time. And it more from a pizza, that was the first one. And then the next one was pizza and a bit of chocolate. And then it turned into pretty much eating all night. And I was going like one step forward, one step back. And I just was spinning the wheels.
Which everyone was doing at that time.
Yeah. It was a cheat meal,
and justifying it, trying to justify it.
I remember eating a large pizza, like packet of M&Ms.
I earned it.
The Kmart AC cookies, smashing a box of them.
Exactly, and that's, eating disorder 101.
Yeah.
I mean, look up the definition of eating disorder. It's eating, a copious amount of calories in a single sitting above and beyond what you normally would. Well, that is binge eating.
Yeah.
You got a binge eating disorder. Congratulations. You've coached your client into having a binge eating disorder. Yeah. Nicely done.
Yeah.
So like it just, for me, it doesn't work. Like just take it out of my world. Like give me a refeed, give me rice, give me, potato, give me more fats or whatever, but just don't give me cheat meals. Like it's best not to turn on those pathways, because, when you're in an environment where you just have nothing exciting in your world, just so to speak, by design.
Yeah.
You know, and you throw something in. It's not like, you know, that person who's walking past the gym now having a, you know, Mars bar. It's like, well, they can do it and they can go back to doing what they do. But us, when we're dieting and you know, we're hypersensitive. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like for some, it's just a recipe for disaster. So I tend not to include that type of stuff when I coach, simply because it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
But completely, some can do it. Yeah, power to them.
Yeah. To come back to the Charles thing, I think like we were heavily influenced by Ben Pekulski.
Yeah,
it was like he was heavily influenced by Charles.
Yeah.
And then it was like that made, as much as like when Lane broke, he was probably the most anti-Charles.
Yes.
And it was like he was pushing the opposite message. But
people
only paid attention to him because there was that step first. And then it was like Brad Schoenfeld came out. And then you mentioned Menno earlier. Like he became a thing. And it was like all these guys all of a sudden that started talking like science, and we all paid attention because it was like that was the first step. Like we worked in a Good Life club, same model as Fitness First basically. We only knew Good Life Point Cook.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, now there's this whole other world. It's like we paid attention to him and he knows him and he knows him and he knows him. And now all of a sudden there's this huge source of information. Like you said, in terms of like the industry getting better and raising that standard, I think that was part of it because it was like these PTs went from box jumps with people who were 30 kilos overweight and all of a sudden wondering why they were injured all the time to like actually thinking about what they were doing and what we probably went too far for a little bit. Like everyone had to be bodybuilders. Like, but then the industry definitely improved off the back of all of that.
Yeah. And I think, but even now, like to reference Poliquin again, you're seeing some new research come out that whereas Poliquin sort of he was drawing conclusions, I think, and making assumptions based on things that he had seen. And now it's like being shown in the research. It's like, well, maybe Charles was on the game. You know, just little things.
You have to prove things by science to have evidence.
Yeah,
things can actually happen if you just see them happen.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's what Charles had. He just had such a wealth of, and you got to like I mean, you know, I'm not sort of. I hope this comes across negatively, but you know, I actually had a friendship with Charles, and I stayed at his house in Colorado, and his house was just floor to ceiling full of bodybuilding magazines, books, and just so much, and everything to do with health and fitness. Like he was such a fanatic. You know, people don't, I think, give him credit or didn't give him credit enough for that. Like this dude, he lived and breathed bodybuilding, you know, and he wasn't really acknowledged as an authority in bodybuilding. But I can assure you, like his world was well and truly, you know, had absolutely every conceivable magazine, and he had like volumes and volumes of all that Muscle Mag, like every episode across, you know, it was just, and he had massive bookshelves. Like I'm talking to the ceiling, you know, I had to get like a ladder to get all the books out. There was a kid at a candy store, like he spent all day just reading these books, stuff, like all like they don't make them anymore type things.
Yeah.
So I wonder where they all went, but I think he. Yeah, I think he was, and the only thing probably like retrospectively, and I've spoken about this to a few, it was Wolfgang, I think, when Wolfgang came out, I went and had a coffee with him, caught up with him. He did something at Clean Health, and he was saying probably, the thing that held Charles back a bit, he took things personally, and like if he thought you crossed you, he would then, you know, get, would do what he thought he was entitled to do, and there'd be lawyers involved and everything else, or, you know, things like that. And you're more than entitled to do that, of course. But it was he probably would have been even bigger name in the industry if he didn't sort of take things personally, because he was sort of the first guy doing all that. And then obviously when other people were inspired by him and did something similar, I think that, you know, he sort of thought that they were, or my IP type thing.
Yeah.
So I think he probably would have been an even bigger enigma if, maybe if he wasn't the first, you know, you might not have that, but he was legitimately, he was ahead of his game. He was doing everything before everyone else was almost.
Yeah. We talk about it heaps, like when you see someone who's like so invested.
And that's just my opinion on Charles. There's no way, shape or form actually. No, it's just things I've heard.
Yeah, we talk about like when you're so invested in one thing and you know so much about it that like you just have to go to another level so it's to continue that excitement.
Yeah.
Like you see it in other facets where people are an expert on one thing. Like they start talking about shit that's just like fucking out there. Like, and some of it might be proven later, like you just said before. Yeah. But people are just like, oh, nah, like it's what he's saying is like stupid. And it's like, but if you already know the meat and nuts. Yeah. If you already know the meat and nuts and you know it, it's like, well, how do you keep going? You've got to go to a level and try and push the boundaries.
Yeah.
And I feel like people don't understand when there's like an expert in something or someone who's so fucking invested and passionate about something. It's like they want to push those boundaries because that's where we get to benefit from it.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, okay, so it is a thing or it's not. You know, and we can apply all this stuff and then go, we fucked up, it was wrong. But it's only because other people are doing all the legwork for us that we can actually coach our clients the way we coach them.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think you're right. Charles was definitely, if there's one thing that you would say about Charles, retrospectively, he did push the limits, and he did absolutely, like you said, revolutionize the industry. And it was like, it was often, we got critiqued for not charging enough. It was like, what are you charging? You should be charging this. And I go back and $140 a session or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree with your point that Jason he definitely did push the limits and the boundaries. And like you said, when you know the topic back to front, you can draw those conclusions and make assumptions and because you know it back,
some people don't want to just sit there and go, it's 1.6 grams protein, we're done.
Yeah.
Like some people want to go, okay, so what else could I get from this? Like what else is there that I can look into? Like instead of just talking about proteins, like maybe there's some other stuff, and we're all going to benefit from those people doing that.
Eventually,
because we'll either find out it's right or we'll find out that it's not right, even right now maybe.
And I think there's no definitive it's right or not right. It's always in certain situations like metformin. I was just having this discussion today. You guys, probably familiar with metformin, diabetic drug, and it's the type of thing that some individuals will respond well to it. And we're taking it not for diabetes. We're talking about from performance-related perspective, but the insulin improving benefits and the inability to convert carbs to glycogen. These types of things are going to be very beneficial for certain individuals, but for others, there's suppression of mTOR. So, the very enzyme that's related to the growth of the muscle can be suppressed. So for some, that slight suppression of mTOR, we were talking about genetics earlier, well, that could be enough for you not to get your gains. You're getting more insulin sensitivity and all these great things that the metformin can do, but, for some, it's not going to be a good fit. And I think a lot is like that. For some, it's going to be a really good fit and work really well. For others, it's not going to be. So even though, in certain research settings, things can be shown, not shown, but still it doesn't, there's always outliers and there's always these, look at the graph, there's a few up here, a few down there, and this is the in the middle, the bell curve, but what about those ones and those ones? I'm interested in those ones. What happened there?
Yeah. If you get results with them too, like that shows, I think, your competency as a coach as well, because there's a lot of people that probably can sit there with someone who's genetically gifted, and it's like, no matter what you fucking do, if you take enough, and you train hard enough,
eat enough,
you do enough and eat enough, and you show up, you're probably going to get it. Where if you can get people on either side of that, and it's like they don't respond as well, it's like it shows.
And I think that's probably, Adam O'Mackey, to name names, if you guys will be familiar with him and the listeners maybe, but he'll often post that up. It's like, it's easy to, throw peds at someone, but it's a little harder. You get someone that's, type 2 diabetic and this and that, and you can still get them in shape. But, I think definitely, like if you do know, like we're saying, your craft, then you do have that skill set to probably get most over the line. But I think also that sometimes it's, it just takes much longer to get where we got to get, 100%. And I think that's where some people get a bit deluded or a bit discouraged maybe, it's, you can get there. It's just, you might take 3 years. Like for someone else, it might be 6 months.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really relevant too. But most, they just lose motivation. They give up. But it's just the way it is.
Who else along the way? Because I know, like, you're big on your mentorships and in
you worked with a lot of people too. Like, even just when I was just tapping into your life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Watching from afar.
From what you were saying, I wasn't actually tapping into your life. Just what you were letting
down the front of his house,
letting us know about on Under the Bar.
Yeah. So, Milos I worked with for a little bit, Starshev, back in the day, and I did some mentoring with him back when I was starting to coach some of the boys in IFBB and whatnot. Like he was one of the guys I did some mentoring with. Menno Hansen, like these days it's like the Mountain Dog, spent some time with him again, rest in peace. Obviously Charles, spent a lot of time with Charles. It was funny, whenever he came to Sydney, he would just come and hang out in my office and like he'd be doing a seminar. I was like, shouldn't you be out there? And he's like, yeah, they're all right, they're training. And he'd just put his feet on the desk and we'll talk about shit. It was cool. Like I was hanging out with Charles, but I was like, I felt guilty. He goes, do you want to go grab something to eat? I said, yeah, all right. And we'll cruise down the street and get something to eat. But Yeah, so I'm always I've tried to connect with a lot more, to be honest, but a lot don't want to give their secrets away.
Yep.
You know, it's the type, and I completely get that. Like, I'm transparent. You pay me for $100 for the hour, I'll talk about whatever you want. You want to know what I do for peak week? No problem, I'll tell you. Have no issues with that. Whereas others are really, you can work with me for 12 months and I'll tell you. It's like, I don't really want to do a comp prep, man. But,
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Lights at Patrick too. I don't know if you know Patrick. I've contacted him.
Yeah.
George Farah hit him up. And several other the pro bodybuilder coaches. They don't really do consults or mentoring or anything like that. So a lot I wanted to mentor with, but I just didn't. Just couldn't get my foot in the door. Lyle McDonald is one. I mean, my hit list would be Lyle McDonald. I'd love to, but we had a falling out. We did a podcast with him back at Clean Health, and then basically, long story short, Charles and he had a falling out, and because we were affiliated with Charles, we couldn't run it. And then 3 weeks after we did the podcast, emailed, "Hey, when's that podcast?" I said, "Look, there's a bit of an issue," and then he just went postal, dude. Like, I read the email, the profanities that came through.
He sounds like a bit of a savage.
Oh,
he
sounds like a firecracker, man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, and it's still to this day.
Wow.
Well, that was like 2015. So I tried to mentor him with him a couple of, 5 years later, and he goes, because Broderick Chavez is good friends with him, and Brod's, connected me with him again, and then he's like, sent the email, I guess, Broderick said, you wanted to do, some mentoring about NEAT and sparse. That was the presentation I was doing, and he knows that back to front, and he goes, but Broderick reminded me who you were, and I want to say, if you're the last person on fire on Earth, I wouldn't piss on you, put you out. You can burn in hell, and all right. And he just went on this barrage, barrage, and this is 5 years after I had. I said, all right. I said, look, I understand where you're coming from. I'm really sorry about that, but my hands were tied back then. But no worries. Thanks for your time, and just left it. But Brods is wearing him down. Like, he's, I'm saying, keep telling him. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you can call me whatever you want. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I just want to pick your brain. Like, this guy is next level. For anyone, go follow Lyle McDonald.
I feel like he's one of those ones that you just look at who has so much knowledge.
Dude.
But like Charles, like maybe if he was less aggressive, he'd be a much bigger name. Like him and Mike obviously go back and forth quite a bit. He's close with Brods, and like these are names that like everyone in our circle at least knows who Broderick is. And then most gym people know who Mike Israetel is. It's like he's as if not by the seemingly smarter than those guys. But very little people actually know who he is.
Brods, even Brods acknowledges, like, he and Mike going toe-to-toe, and Brods were like, nah, fucking Lyle, every day of the week, like, forget it. Give up.
Yeah.
You're going to put your case forward, but, Lyle will be like a lawyer with all his folders and files, and he'll just pull out reference after reference and just tear you to shreds. Someone you don't want to get on the wrong side of. But unfortunately, I was on the wrong side of him. So, and for nothing I did do.
It's just
I did the recording. Like,
just
Dane said not to run it.
It's rough.
Charles sent me a message. I put a post up saying, I can't wait to run this interview on the podcast. And then Charles actually PM'd me and said, what do you do an interview with that guy for? I said, well, blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, he sort of suggested others wouldn't come on the podcast if I ran it. I went, all right, I didn't know you had an issue with it. No problem, we won't run it.
Yeah.
And then Dane sort of said, let's not run it. I mean, ultimately, it was my choice, I guess, but I was respecting Charles more so, and and then the rest is history. But
I feel like it's I don't know, seemingly, at least the circle we hang out with, that has kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Like, there's not as much.
Hey guys, hope you are enjoying this week's episode. If you are, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to head to the website where we have all our free resources, gifts, products, services, and merch for you guys to enjoy. All right, let's head back to the episode.
Bickering and
that team, you're that team, fuck off. We're that team,
you
fuck off. Like, that doesn't seem to be a thing anymore.
The only thing that's a thing, I think, is the evidence-based crowd. Like, there seems to be this big push with, wow, it's not showing the research. And even you'll agree, probably one of the smartest dudes we all know is Luke Tulloch. He will say, just because science hasn't proved it doesn't mean it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, by all means, use science to make decisions and guide us in a certain direction, but you need to look, observe, get data.
Stuff happens if you can't explain it, but sometimes it happens.
Yeah. And so I think there's this, and that's what really gets to mention Broderick again, sort of gets his back up. And Henselman's, like, he's, like, a lot, like, I talk to him candidly, and I've been mentoring with him for the last 8 years,
That's sick.
And obviously for me, you guys respect what I do. For me to do it, you'd probably think, well, he must know what he's talking about. And I get immense value from it. But I think, like many take like Menno's PT courses. I've done that course. I know everything. And it's like, well, hold on, guys. And that's where, you know, the likes of Brods and others will get their back up because, you know, they hold their chest up and, you know, don't look like they've lifted a weight in their life, but they'll quote all the references and go toe to toe with people on social media. It's like, just chill the F out. Like bodybuilders, biggest dudes on the planet, and you're going to call them a meathead? Well, clearly they're doing something right.
Yeah.
You know, you can't discount, you know, that guy's twice the size of you. Now, genetics, yeah, okay, fair enough, but they just eat, live and breathe the sport of bodybuilding. Why are they successful? Probably because they're consistent with everything that they do. They don't dick around and they make sure they eat the meals and everything else. So I think, probably that would be the only thing I would say. Like there's this evidence-based crowd, which, you know, you, Scott, Jason, myself, we're evidence-based as well.
Yeah.
We look at the research, we bring it to the party, but at the same time, we wouldn't necessarily discount the opinion of someone else that wasn't evidence-based. It's like, well, you're shredded AF, and I get this all the time on social media. It's like, well, you know, what are you going to follow someone with a six-pack? And it's like, well, they do have a six-pack and they're shredded. Clearly they know something.
Yeah.
You know, they might be worth listening to.
Success leaves clues.
Yeah, at least for a minute to determine whether they know what they're talking about. Like
And look, I mean, even if they're, and like the likes of Lauren Simpson and will get ripped, it's like, well, what's she doing? She's motivating people that are out of shape to start. Well, that in itself is a win, isn't it? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're ridiculing these Instagram, you know, that have 1 million followers. Like, It's like, well, okay, they're motivating. How many people do you help?
Yeah.
You got 20 clients. Okay, she helps, you know, what, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000? How many does she work with?
And influences what?
Influences
like
many.
500,000, yeah.
Yeah, they put the donut down and, they might still, well, actually, watching Laura, they probably still eat the donuts because they think they should, but the point is they're motivated, they become active, they you know, and usually that's half the battle, just getting them off the chair and just want to improve their life, their health and fitness.
We have the same conversation in business. It's like James Smith's the one that come up all the time. It's like,
is that the English guy?
Yeah, it's like I don't think I've ever seen him put anything out that would hurt someone, and he's doing better than arguably everyone in Australia right now.
Absolutely,
so it's like
it.
He's done a sold out world tour. It's like you can't hate on that. Like,
well, it's all poppy, you know, and Australia I think is really good at doing that, ripping down people that are successful. Mind you, he's an import, so we can rip him down, I suppose. But like I don't know a lot about him, but I have watched a few of the things he does, and he's very charismatic and he's very easy to listen to. Yeah. There's some humor, he's witty, like all the things that
he's
work.
Like,
you know?
He's like the perfect Gen Pop coach.
Yeah.
It's like it's based on charisma, like factor, and simplicity. Yeah. And it's like, okay, he's doing that better than 99.99% of people. Exactly. You can't, at least from a marketing standpoint anyway. Like he's nailing that. So it's the message of like, well, what can you learn from them? And that's the same. It's like, maybe the guy who's jacked and the biggest guy in the gym got there by accident from genetics and drugs. Sure. Yeah. But maybe speak to him first. Don't just assume that.
And this thing, you can always learn something from everyone. Like that's the thing. I learn things from my clients every day. Like they go, I've been doing this. I like that. Then I just incorporate it into what I do. Yeah. And I'm sure you guys would too. Yeah, you know? You're always picking up little bits and pieces here and there. It's like, that would work with what I'm doing. I like that.
Yeah.
100%. And I think if you ever get to that point where you think you know everything, like really, you know nothing. And it's funny, like you spoke about PEDs and that type of stuff. And, you know, I've spent a little bit of time, you know, learning about that. But the more I learn about it, the less confident I am talking about it. And the more when I see others and not naming names and they talk with such authority, it's like, no, that's just not right. You know, like, yes, on paper, that's what they're supposed to do. But, dude, I've seen time and time again that just doesn't happen. You know, there's so many factors that come into it. And it's really, okay, this is what it should do. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. If it's good, let's leave it. Yeah. And then if it's not good, let's change it. Yeah. That's pretty much the criteria, you know?
The scientific method.
And that's the difference, isn't it? It's like you talked about the evidence-based crowd. It's like for some people, evidence is their physique and evidence is the scientific method. Do this, did it work, change something, review it. Like, it doesn't have to always
science,
be...
It's almost like an experiment.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be shown in the literature. It's like evidence doesn't always just mean literature.
And what we're doing is premature when you look at evidence. Like, how much fucking hypertrophy research is there?
Yeah,
really. Dive your head in that shit.
Relatively new, isn't it?
And you're like, so we can still figure shit out and still be very confident with it. Because you, like you said before, it's like if you know the principles and you know you work your method off those, it's like you can start to formulate like, okay, this hasn't been proven yet, but it makes sense and I'm not going to fucking hurt anyone.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I think there is so many ways to do what we're doing anyway. There's a few key fundamentals like I referenced energy balance. I get your head around that. Okay, probably with training, a certain amount of volume, some progression of some description. You know, exercises don't hurt the individual, so that's probably a good start. A little bit of variety, and the rest just do it. You know, like it really. I think when you do sort of... Now, I do things a certain way, granted, but it's a certain way because that's my way. It doesn't mean that you could do it a different way, and I would say that's wrong. It's like, good, I like the program, excellent.
Yeah.
But, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. But for me, it's a massive, the more you know, the less you know. I mean, you hear that expression all the time, and I feel myself, less and less confident talking about... all those
specifics.
things, you know.
It's good to know we're not the only ones.
No, dude.
Do get that a lot. I'm like, fuck, do I know fucking anything?
Well, but you catch me like 12, 18 months, I would be, these are DHTs, these are 19, this is hypertrophy. You got to, but now it's like I get asked, like I've got to do for Dave Welch and Dave Driscoll and the guys at Fitwell. I think Fitwell's the new company, but Level Up was their company that I had before. I got to talk about hypertrophy, and I'm going to be behind the camera, and it's like, oh, I got to, which I'll bumble my way through it, and I'm sure it will make some vague sense, but it's sort of like, like where do I start? And it's all sort of, but this could work, that could work. Yeah. So but you catch me 12 months, I'll be like, let's go hypertrophy. I'm a hypertrophy guy. I'll talk about that. That's great. But like you said, the new guys have obviously experienced it, and those that are listening, if they haven't, you will, trust me. If you keep learning, if you don't keep learning, you'll never sort of sense that because and there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's something to be said for staying in your lane and staying in your comfort zone to a degree. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know about stuff that I want to know about. That's just what I do and what interests me. And some like to continue learning and # always learning. But it's not to say that you have to. I think many great PTs and coaches just stay in their lane. This is what they know. And it's like, and again, to name names, Mark Carroll often, and he's pretty switched on. He's done a ton of educating himself. Like he gone straight to lane and paid him a stupid amount of money to mentor with on a weekly basis. So he's mentored a lot, but he often, will get sort of, again, tall poppy, maybe something to do with Lauren, I don't know. But he's good at what he does. He's excellent at what he does. I mean, he targets women and gets them in shape and whatnot. But excellent at his craft. Now, is he the greatest coach in the world? Like, depends what your definition of the greatest coach in the world. Does he know everything? No, he doesn't. Does he know what he knows really effing well? Yeah, he does. Yeah. So I think that he's probably not an example because he has gone on to educate himself. But my point is, there's nothing wrong with if this is what you know and you just want to know it really well. That's absolutely fine as well.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, the advantage of that, you refer out. Like, I don't want to know about rehab. If that hurts, okay. Could it be this? It could be. Maybe it was doing this. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
How about you go see Jared down at Jungle Brothers, get some ART. He'll diagnose what it is and he'll tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You're not a professional. I'm not a professional. Go see. And so you can support all your colleagues in the industry and refer out. Yeah. Or, you train a chick and she gets pregnant. Well, that's not my thing. Let's consult with so-and-so and we'll get the program design from her. I'll train you. So yeah, I mean, that's my thing as well. I stay in my lane. Like physique prep's what I do. I don't want to know about powerlifting. I find it interesting. I've, 285 dead, 220 squat. That's not all that impressive, but 185 bench, no arch or any of that silly stuff. So I've dabbled in that type of stuff, and I love low reps training heavy. I get the hernia and everything else to prove it, but ruptured disc L5S1. But it's not what I want to do. I'll let you guys. I mean, who's the powerlifter? One of you guys. Yeah. So it's your thing. I would refer it, and I go see Scott. He knows powerlifting. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
But when you want to get ready for a physique prep, bodybuilding show, come and see me.
Yeah, we have that relationship ourselves. It's like,
so you're more physique.
Yeah.
It's
like I can take someone to a photo shoot. You want to compete, go see Jace. And Jace is the same. Like, intro to powerlifting, sure. But once you want to get serious, go see Ben. Yeah. It's like being really good at what you're good at is like really valuable.
So I was referencing your last name.
It's all right.
Yeah, man. And I think that goes a long way too, just staying in your lane. Because I think when you get into the industry too, like there's this onus, like you think you need to know everything. Like I was talking to one of the girls I coach who's just started chain of clubs here, Fitness Playground. Awesome club, really good culture. Have weekly mentoring and similar stuff to probably what you guys would do. But and I sort of just said to her, I said, look, you're probably going to feel like you need to know everything, and but you don't. Like, you just need to sort of get the
more
basics.
Than your clients.
Yeah, get the basics right, and then again, like you said, that emphasizing that don't hurt people. That's probably a good thing.
Do no harm's pretty important.
Do no harm, yeah, very important. And just stay within your lane, and then eventually you sort of work out, what your demographic is. Initially, I think there's this, you think you need to know everything, but the reality is you don't.
I think being able to get to a point where you can do this is what we think happens now.
Yeah.
We were talking about the hypertrophy stuff. It's like when you get to a point where you're your craft, what you want to specialize in. You're like, this is everything we know right now. It could be this, it could be that. You could do these rep ranges. You can do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, these will get the outcomes right now, and it could change. And I think if you can get to that point and not get, like you were referencing, maybe 12 months earlier for yourself, and be it is done this way.
Yeah.
I think that just comes with maturity, education, and just being able to you get invested in something, and you just fuck, the protein and carbs thing. It's like, no. Yeah. I don't want to listen to the logic right now.
Yeah. This is my team. Leave me alone.
Yeah. It's like you just get that confirmation bias and you can't change.
Well, that's funny. The one was close to home. So Menno just, and obviously someone I mentor with, and I just told you that clearly if I've been 8 years, I listen to what this guy says, but he threw up a post about artificial sweeteners. Now, the research has been out that they're not problematic from a health perspective. Like they said, look at the research. It's fine. And actually, diets that have artificially sweetened drinks seem to be more successful. So, but my point of difference was, and again, my own personal experience, this was the case. I did a cut during lockdown, and I won't show you pics, but I got pretty close to being comp lean. It was just like, it's lockdown, I can't train. I did it with no training and just did cardio, and cover your ears, the listeners can hear this. But 6 hours on the Stairmaster was what I got to at the end.
Jesus.
So I was on about 1,200 calories and doing 6 hours cardio. So obviously I got pretty lean, and interestingly, I got down to about 82 kilos, and then I was up to about 110 in about 5 weeks. So I put on 5 kilos a week when I started training.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. but looked great. Veins, abs were still on.
I remember I saw your face. It was like, fucking hell, man.
Yeah, I got pretty diced. But what I found was I started a few more diet drinks, and I was getting diet sun-kissed, and next minute I was trying to artificially sweeten all my, I was having sort of almond milk with strawberries as after dinner, super low calories, if anyone knows about strawberries and almond milk. And then I was putting, the Equal in it, and 10 packets of Equal, and trying to get the sweetness. And I think it sort of primarily stemmed. I was dieting harder at that point in time and pushing things, and there were all sorts of bits and pieces, under the hood going on too. But so my own personal experience says that, because they had artificially sweetened things, I then went, and I ended up stopping the diet because I was just binging. Yeah. I was just eating. It wasn't bad foods, and I still to this day haven't eaten anything and by bad foods I'm talking about, the chocolates and pizzas and all that type of stuff. I eat lots of rice and fruit and those types of things. But I found that the artificially sweetened drinks kind of what pushed me in that direction, I think, retrospectively. Yeah. But this new research said that it doesn't increase the desire for sweetness. So would be my argument that the clients are saying, well, why can't we have diet drinks? It's like, well, it's reminding you of something sweet. Yeah. I'm trying to create. Yeah, sweet is good.
You should have more. Yeah.
And I want more of that.
Like more, yeah.
And then eventually, the diet drinks don't cut it. And then you just start moving on to other things, potentially.
Especially for your client, your demographic that you work with when they're so fucking peeled. It's like all of those sensations are just going to be elevated. Raw beans taste sweet when you're fucking peeled, man. So it's have a fucking Diet Coke. It's like, that's going to send you off your dial. Yeah. Just that dopamine hit. Exactly. That desire for more.
And that's my point. Because this study was done on normal people. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get them when they're 4 weeks out from comp. Yeah. And then give them a diet drink and see if they then want more of that.
Yeah.
So you got to take it with a grain of salt. But it's now going to be, the research is, so now when I phrase it, it's going to be, the research in a normal setting is no, it's not going to make you want more sweet foods. But when we're in a comp prep, I think it's probably because you got to also think, what's your nutritional philosophy? Well, my nutritional philosophy is trying to have whole foods. Cast your mind back to what we'll put on this planet to eat. That's what I want you to eat. There's the body works pretty well on that food. Let's keep it like that. So I don't know where artificially sweetened drinks came into it. It's not kind of what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Can you have them? Yes. Is there any calories involved? No. Some people fine with it. Yes. Some people not, probably. And it's the some people not that I am leaning more towards because of my own personal experience. I don't respond well to it. And just go, well, why do you want to have artificial? And it's artificial. Like, why put something artificial in the body? Like, the whole point of what we're doing nutritionally is to try and clean everything up and put good fuel in. And the other thing is, I'm trying to make your world monotone and grey by design.
Yeah.
So there's no peaks and troughs. There's no, I'm feeling good today because I had a Diet Coke. I can't wait till I have another Diet Coke, for dinner. And then you're miserable all day, and then have a high because you got to have a Diet Coke with your tea. Like
a little bit of caffeine in it too.
Yeah, caffeine. Yeah. But so it goes against all the things I'm trying to do nutritionally. Like, I want you to not have any, and as bad as it sounds, like joy from food. Like, I don't want you to think about food as a reward. I just want, you need good, those carbs you're eating, that protein is going to help you build the quads you want. Those carbs, that rice is going to fuel the workout. We can argue that point. The fats are going to keep your hormones in check. I mean, that's how I want you to look at food, is fueling the machine. Because then there's no, you know what I mean? You create an environment that's not going to be...
everything's purposeful too.
Yeah. So it's... Yeah. But the research says otherwise.
Could speak to that in the reverse functions, like going from training 16 hours a week, competing, like going all out from a powerlifting sense, to then like, cool, I just want to train enough to be healthy. And it's from 4,600 calories to 2,400 calories. And it's like, I was just, I can eat a bag of Lollies while I train, it's fine. Now it's like, trying to bland my food down, because otherwise it's like, well, I can't have 3 Lollies because I'm used to having a packet. So it's like, I just don't have that. It's have potato, because otherwise it's like that trigger for more straight away. It's like, you can't have like just the burger. You need the burger, the fries, and the shake, because it's like, I used to be able to get away with it. Now you can't. It's like,
I agree. For some, it's just best avoid it. Like, don't
definitely.
put it in your world. Some, and that's the thing, and there's no right or wrong. Some can definitely have all that in their world, but I would say the most can't. And it's better they don't.
And depending on scenario too, like in a maintenance phase.
Yeah, 100%.
Why not? But like if you're trying to get in really good shape or make huge progress in strength or
have a time-sensitive goal like a comp.
It's like you have 100%. To. There's dials that need to be turned up. It's not the same as just like.
Yeah, and I think, again, like, Dean's obviously someone I respect. So, and I think when he gets to the point end of things, he starts pulling the reins, and it's like, no, it's not. Because I remember he was training, coaching Lockie, and I used to do the skin folds for Lockie, and Dean was in Queensland, and Dean would get the figures and whatnot, and in the end, he just stopped, because what Lockie was doing, he was just saving all his calories so he could have cereal, It was still matching all the macros and everything, flexibly dieting, but Dean's like, no, you're taking the piss. Let me just take over for this last, 4 weeks coming to comp. Because you just left to it just doesn't work. So
I think there's a little bit of like it can work to a capacity, but if you know your clients well, and I think there's a little bit of value in like going there, being there, which you have. Like you go there to because you enjoy it, I guess, because you wouldn't do it unless you did, right?
Love hate, but
but either that or you love to be able to know how to coach your clients to be.
Dude, the last one was 100%. That's why I did it. It's like I haven't done a cut for a while. I can do a cut.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it without training. Let's see if I can do it. And it was just okay. How far can I take it? And I think all the guys were in lockdown.
Yeah,
if you were working with someone, wouldn't you want to be motivated by, wow, this guy's outworking me?
Yeah, fucking oath.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
So that's why I did it, and I experimented with different subs. I took this Osmo pack. It's a type 2 diabetic drug. Found it online, and what it is, it signals the brain that you're satiated, so it stops the signal that you want more food, and it also slows gastric emptying. So it's an injection, once a week, and I used that, and it worked really well. Like it did work really, really well. But then when I came out of the cut, it was like, hey, I'm ready to eat. Yeah. And the gastric emptying was still sort of sitting. I'd eat, and I just couldn't eat.
Couldn't get the food in.
Dude, it was like the worst thing ever.
Yeah, wow.
It's like, I want to stop now, but if you do use that, off-label.
There's a bit of hangover period afterwards.
Well, they're using it for appetite suppression now, but it is originally for type 2, but it's showing better results in the research compared to like lap band surgery.
Yeah, like cutting people's stomachs up.
Yeah. Like it's the shizzle dizzle, man.
Yeah, right.
Osmo pack.
Osmo.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And look, so that's what I did. I experimented with a few things. So, when someone presents, if you tell me, I bought some Osmopec online, what do you think? It's like, well, this is my experience on it. Mm-hmm. Or, okay, you're doing 2 hours cardio. I don't really want to give you 2 hours, but I was doing 6. You can do 2, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, your legs don't fall off if you do more than 2.
You
I
can
tell
go
you
there
that.
if you can. If you're prepared to, you can.
Exactly. And it was mentally just, that was the biggest hurdle, but I was at home in lockdown.
Like, there's nothing else to do.
Either eat or hop on the cross trainer. Stairmaster. So it was Stairmaster 2, not Tready.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's impressive.
Badge of honor. I'm the guy that did 6 hours, and it's either that or to reference people who I think are definitely Menno, Broderick Chavez, obviously, but Dr. Scott Stevenson, you guys will be aware of him.
Yeah.
The dude's like a genius, like next level. He's who I've just started mentoring with now. So we've done one mentor session, so I'm going to open up the lines of communication there. But I told him, he's like, what the fuck? How many hours did you do? I'm like, 6. And he goes, oh, wow, that's crazy, man. Because we're talking my TSH levels, thyroid levels, TSH hasn't sort of come back to normal. And this is the thing, like if you do subs for off-label use, there's always a price to pay. And I'm well aware of that.
Yeah.
So I took some thyroid hormone to ramp things up while I was doing that, again, because some clientele might use that in prep. And I've used it a couple of times before. My TSH still isn't back online, so it's high, like I'm hypo, but I got enough T3 and T4. So it's like, what, T4's low, so that's probably what's driving up TSH. I know it's a little complicated for the guys listening, but you guys could probably vaguely relate. But Dr. Scott Stevenson said, look, it's probably because you took the thyroid hormone, but it could just be doing 6 hours cardio, eating 1,200 calories. It takes more time. So it was sort of about 10 weeks after that, I suppose, that reading. And he said, look, how long did you push it? I said, it was probably about 5 months. And he goes, well, you probably need at least 5 months for things to come back to normal.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense when you say it out loud. But I'm like, I should be back. Like, I'm off everything. Like, what the hell?
Why not perfect?
I need immediate help.
Yeah. So he was just like, yes, it could be the T3, but it could just be fucking killing yourself. That's a lot of stress to put on the body. So but highly recommend checking out. He's got a ton of stuff on YouTube too. Collaborates with everyone, but well and truly a genius, Dr. Scott Stevenson. And he's got a bodybuilding book. You guys probably have it. That's awesome too.
So to wrap it up, because I know your time is precious, and
it's very precious. Everyone's time is. If anyone listens to this, thank you, because you just spent however long listening to
us ramble
Ben, Jason, myself talking, and guess what? You don't get that time back.
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah. So 2 positive progressions in the fitness industry. So 2 things you look at now that are like really improved, and then 2 things that like were maybe better back in the day.
These are the hardest questions ever. This is how you always finish. My God, I got this asked this the other day. I'm like, I don't know. I guess probably, like I said, I think the just a bigger awareness of people that are in health, and be it influencers, I think that's a positive. Just getting people aware of being active and moving and motivating people. I think that's a good thing, as much as it's looked at as a bit of a negative of the industry. I think that's actually a positive.
Yep.
I think that it is with all the evidence-based crowd, I guess, or just the information that's coming out, I think that's a big positive as well. Like, we're now, even though we sort of knew this worked, now we can pull out a paper and say, well, this paper showed it worked. So I think that's a big positive as well. So I think, the social media motivating the masses, I think, is actually a good thing. And then I also think that all the evidence-based and the guys that are pushing, like the Eric Helms and the Greiger and Menno, to a degree, he's involved in the research too. The Israels, these guys are doing good things, because it's and Schoenfeld, obviously, as much as they get ripped for, and Lyle hates Schoenfeld, just the way he does research and checks his results and thinks he's fudging it. But still, like, they're giving us information and it's prompting thought. Like, now we think about it, it's like, well, instead of doing, 8 to 12 for hypertrophy, 3 to 5 for strength, and strength endurance 15 to 20, well, now we can sort of draw, a few conclusions and make assumptions and make educated guesses. So I think just all the push to explain the how and the why, I think that's a wonderful thing as well. And I think it's prompting us to be aware of what we're doing. And, nutrition and supplementation are going there. Like, Examine's awesome. Like, there's plenty of good resources. Yeah. So I think that's a good thing too, being aware that we can find out. But like you said, it's still pretty in the infancy stage, compared to everything else. But that's good. Negatives, social media influencers, they're pretty no, I'm joking. But still, they can be. It depends.
Some depend on who.
The do no harm rule is important in that sense, I think.
I think just the bitchiness in the industry, like if we're talking about the industry, there's still a bit of, he does that or whatever, or calling people out, and it's like, oh, if you're like, and again, I won't name names, but if your coach tells you to do this, he's the worst coach. And it's like, well, sometimes they have to do 2 hours cardio. Like sometimes they have to eat 1,000 calories. Like who the F are you to tell me what's going on with the athlete? I didn't go there straight away. Like it was a progression. We did 1,500, we did 1,400, 13, nothing was happening. 60 minutes cardio didn't work. At 2 hours and 1,000 calories, it's working. Now, is it because they're not compliant? Maybe, but it's their choice. So that's what I had to do. So I think that calling people out and just suggesting that what you do on the back of what I've said pretty much this whole conversation is, it's just a way of doing things. There's no right or wrong. And as long as you can explain it's a good thing. Don't hurt people, no harm. And I suppose that's what they will say, you're hurting people. But so that's probably like a negative thing in the industry. Like there's still that going on. It's like, we're all sort of in the same industry. Like let's, we don't have to kumbaya and hold hands. But, I think we can probably support each other probably a little more.
Operate harmoniously.
Yeah, to a degree, but such is life. There's always going to be that.
Be able to have mentorships with Lyle McDonald as well.
Yeah. The impulsive strings. I don't know. You guys might be able to pull some strings. Like, make it happen. Yeah, probably. I don't know what else would be negative. I mean,
anything you miss. Maybe not a negative. Anything you miss from.
Look, I mean,
back in the day,
the glory days. Like, I mean, back when we were at Clean Health, like I missed the fact that we were the first sort of club where there was strongman training, sort of that was big group sessions, and then that I don't know whether there are clubs that have that atmosphere and the high-fiving and the camaraderie we had, and everyone wanting to work there. I'm not really aware. I mean, can you guys think of anywhere like you just want to work at? Like some places are cool and you want to run your business out of there, but that was a time where. It was literally that, and we're all busting out. And I mean, R.I.P. Brad Soper. You're probably familiar with Brad, and everyone was training hard and PRs, and it was we had the Eminem playing, and everyone would be racking up the bar, and it was just out of control, man. Like that, and to be part of that and look back and reflect on that. The strongman was one part of it, but just the whole atmosphere and like Tom and I on the floor, high fives and jokes, and it was just. I think everyone, the clients loved it, all the coaches loved it. And that was a moment in time where, and then there were several clubs doing that, and then it's just a different place in time. I think back then it was, your qualifications that sort of got you notoriety and business, whereas now I think it is primarily just how many followers you have on Instagram, which is fine, but it's not so much all the courses, like, do you really care? I mean, I suppose, do you care that I've done PIC, P1 and 2? I mean, no one does now. Back in the day, it did mean something. So I guess I don't know if that really answered the question, but definitely at Clean Health those days, I do miss that, and I don't. That's just a moment in time that won't come back.
There isn't that superpower around anymore. Like I remember, like Clean Health was, in my eyes, it was the Australian UP. And exactly. I remember like applying to UP, like pack my whole life up as long as I'll sleep in a cupboard. I don't care. I'll go to UP and work as a 22-year-old kid, because it was like, that's the place you've got to be. And Clean Health was Australia's that at the time.
Absolutely.
And I don't think there is Zero is probably the closest, at least in the powerlifting space, that have that kind of.
We spoke about Thomas, and he's probably. I mean, hey, maybe it is gone full circle and it's going back that way, and you want to be part. Like I think it was because everyone is encouraged to run their own businesses out of a club now. There's no part of a bigger picture type thing. So maybe he's doing something that is a little
until early. Or late 2022, early 2023, STCfit gym.
And like I said, it might be perfect timing. Like we're ready to go back into that and create a culture where people want to be part of there, and you know what I mean? Like it's quite an experience. You guys will love it. I'm sure you'll do well.
At least from business, we're having conversations from a marketing standpoint now that like the big ones like Instagram and stuff are less effective now, and people are moving to smaller. Even gyms are the same. It's like we're moving away from Good Life, and we just came from Canberra. It was like there's 2 big box gyms, and even them, they're not big box like a Fitness First, like a Good Life. They're all little independent studios, and It's like it's coming. Like
Yeah,
people
yeah,
want to
definitely,
be in a back into that. Little,
Well, on the back of COVID as well. Like they don't want to go on the big
connection.
commercial. Like so, they want those smaller ones where you keep it clean now might be the right time. Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time, mate.
No
really
worries.
appreciate it.
If anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, the Dubois Method, Facebook, go for it.
Yeah.
I'll buy me a coffee. I'm happy to talk.
Yeah. We didn't talk about
Absolute
Jada.
pleasure.
I'm sad she's
Jada, yeah. Jada, that's my English staffy. Everyone loves Jada. I'm pretty sure that's why most people are friends with me on Facebook.
I did think and before. I was like, fuck, she's not here.
Yeah. When I was walking back from the car, I was
no, she is here. Do you want to see her? Like, my missus is outside.
we will definitely come say hello.
We've been away from... say hello. Like, the guys listening don't need to see that. But you guys can see Jada, definitely.
Been away from our dogs for 2 days, and we're like...
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, you got like an Alsatian.
I've got two. Yeah.
Gorgeous. And what do you got? You got like...
Blue Heeler.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the take-home message. Everyone should have a dog.
Definitely.
Yeah, we
really
cats.
Improve your life.
Cats are horrible. The dogs are good. I think that's the take-home message.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks very much. See ya.
Adios.
Thanks for tuning into the episode. Don't forget to like it if you liked it, and subscribe if you loved it, and share it with somebody who you think needs to hear it. Don't forget also to head to the website for all our free resources, products, services, and merch. All right, see you next time.